Welcome back to my channel. My name is Caela, and today I'm going to be talking about cochlear implants and why I would never, ever have one. So I was born deaf, hard of hearing. I couldn't hear, they didn't know. My parents actually found out by going behind me and going like this and clapping, putting pans behind me, and me not reacting. And so they realized like, hey, she's not hearing. So I was born into the hard of hearing world. And I then started learning sign language. My grandparents actually took sign language class, but I was also given the opportunity to do speech therapy. And within that is how I can speak. I had an FM system when I was in elementary and middle school. In middle school, it then started like connecting to my hearing aids. You also gotta understand, I was born in 1999, so like iPhones weren't a thing when I was in school. It didn't come up until I was in like 6th grade. I'm 22 now. FM systems were the headphones connected to a box. I didn't actually get the hearing aid ones until the technology came out until I was in middle school. So you gotta also understand that the technology really didn't, like, it wasn't really around when I was younger. So I also then learned sign language at the American School for the Deaf, the first one ever in the United States, and I'm really lucky to live in the same state, and I'm actually 15 minutes away, so it's in West Hartford, Connecticut. So if you're ever in Connecticut, go to West Hartford and look at the School for the Deaf. They redid the whole thing. It's beautiful, and it's an amazing program for people who also want to learn sign language just for themselves. So I then started wearing hearing aids when I was in elementary school, and I went to an ENT, and I had 8 sets of tubes. I've had over 100 plus like ear infections. Like I had 2 folders because they were just so big. So I've had a lot of hearing issues my whole life. I then started heavily relying on lip reading. And so when I did go to the American School for the Deaf to start learning deaf culture, deaf community, deaf anything and everything, because I never really felt like I fit in the hearing world, but I never really felt I fit in the deaf world. I learned why cochlear implants are more controversial than you think they would be. As someone who was born deaf or born hard of hearing, I am very proud to be deaf and be part of the community and learn from the community, learn from people, just everything. And it's kind of seen as you're ashamed to be deaf or you're ashamed to be hard of hearing. And I'm not. It took me a long time to get to this place. I don't think when I was 10 I would have said the same thing. But I'm not ashamed, and I'm proud, and I'm okay living in silence. I don't mind living in silence. Sometimes does it get frustrating? Yes. I think life is hard for everyone, but I just would never do that. I understand it more if you grew up hearing and then at like 50 or 40, somehow something happened and your hearing just went out. I would totally understand that more than if you were born hard of hearing or born deaf and grew up in that, because then you already knew what hearing was like. And the deaf community is amazing. Sign language is a beautiful language. Everything about the community, the language and everything is beautiful. And trying to fit into a world like that, knowing that like cochlear implants don't even help some people sometimes. They kind of just like, you have to relearn what a sound is, but you don't even know what sound is in the beginning. So like, how can you relearn that? So I get a lot of questions about like, hey, like, would you ever get this? Would you not? Like in my Instagram DMs, a lot of people ask about that, and no, I would never get one, ever. Also, I've also heard about vocational stuff for deaf people. I don't think I would ever go through that. I'm very lucky to have accommodating employers. I'm also my own boss, so I'm great at my own accommodations. So honestly, I think really like standing up for yourself and knowing what accommodation you need or don't need, like clear masks. If you're gonna have to communicate with people on a regular basis and like at work, you should be able to say, hey, I'm deaf, I need this, and that's an accommodation that they're required to make. So kind of understanding your accommodations, the American Disability Act, what you can and cannot ask for, really does make a difference. But I also understand that people want to feel a sense of normalcy. But you weren't born like that. Like, I wasn't born like that, so I'm okay with not having to fit into hearing people. I actually enjoy it. Like, if I don't want to hear someone, I turn around. I don't mind it. Like, it's okay. It's okay for me. I understand it's a struggle. I'm not saying I didn't struggle and I didn't come home crying to my mom all the time. It's just I learned with age what I would rather do. I also have learning disabilities that really was really hard in school, and now that I'm an adult, I understand it. I know what works for me, what doesn't work for me, and I don't regret it. It's a part of me, and I'm okay with that. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.